Okay, picture this. You've had your new car for a few weeks, maybe you've even made that first payment. You're loving it. And then a letter shows up in the mail, financing denied. The panic is real. You're just sitting there thinking, what in the world is going on?
And look, this isn't some made-up scenario. That's a direct quote from a real car buyer who did everything by the book only to get that baffling letter 2 months later. It immediately makes you ask, is this just some weird mistake or am I getting scammed? So let's dive into this and figure it out.
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with that confusing letter, then decode some of the industry jargon you absolutely need to know. We'll look at the dealer's real motive, lay out a super clear action plan, and finally, arm you with your rights. We're going to go from total confusion to total confidence. Right, that letter in your mailbox can feel like an absolute nightmare. I mean, you have the car, they have your old one, you've even started making payments. So how on earth can the loan be rejected now? Let's break down what this letter could actually mean. Okay, so here's the interesting part. It's not always something sneaky. You see, dealers often shotgun your application to multiple lenders to find the best deal for them. Now, by law, any lender that says no has to send you what's called an adverse action notice. So you might get a rejection letter from Bank A, even though Bank B has already approved you and funded the loan. It could also be something as simple as a typo on the first application that they later fixed and got approved. That scary letter might just be for that initial faulty application. To really get what's happening, you gotta speak the language. And there are two terms here that are absolutely critical: spot delivery and the one you really need to watch out for, the infamous yo-yo financing. Spot delivery is super common. Why? Because dealers want you to fall in love with that new car smell and take it home right away. It feels fantastic, right? But here's the catch. This is the exact step that opens the door to this whole mess. You're driving that car based on a presumed approval, not a final, set-in-stone funded loan.
And this is where things can get predatory. Yo-yo financing is when the dealer uses that oops, financing fell through line to their advantage. They call you, they get you back in the dealership, and they make you feel like you've got no other choice but to sign a brand new contract. One that, surprise, surprise, usually has a higher interest rate and makes them more money.
So you have to wonder, why does this happen? Is it really an honest mistake? Or is there a bigger financial game being played here? Let's pull back the curtain a little bit. A huge chunk of a dealership's profit doesn't come from the car itself. It comes from arranging the financing. So when a dealer says your financing fell through, what they might really be saying is, the loan we got you approved for isn't as profitable as we want, so we're going to try and trick you into a worse one. They're literally trying to make their problem your problem. And believe me, this isn't just a wild theory. It's a known tactic. As one person with industry experience put it, it's a common scam. They wait till you're attached to the car, maybe they've already sold your trade-in, and then they use all that leverage to squeeze a little more profit out of you. All right, enough about the problem. Let's shift gears and talk about the solution. If you get that call or that letter, the first thing to do is not panic. It's time to take control, and here's your step-by-step action plan. First, go find every single piece of paper you signed. That contract is your most powerful tool. Second, call the bank or the credit union that your contract says is financing the deal. You know, the one you've been sending payments to. Use the number on your copy of the documents, not one they give you now. And third, and this is the big one, under no circumstances do you go back to that dealership and sign a new contract. Now listen up, because this is probably the most important part of the whole thing. Keep making your payments on time, exactly according to the terms of the contract you already signed. If you stop paying, you're giving the dealer a legitimate reason to try and repossess the car. Don't hand them that excuse. Keep your payment record perfect. This brings us to the final, and frankly, most empowering piece of this whole puzzle. You need to understand that as a consumer, you have rights, and those rights are locked into your paperwork and protected by the law. I want you to remember this number. In some places, this number represents a consumer protection so powerful it can completely flip the script on this entire situation. So what's the deal with the number 10? Well, in a state like California, it stands for the 10-day rule. Dealers have just 10 days to find a lender for your contract and tell you, in writing, if there's a problem. If they miss that deadline, the contract you signed is binding on them. They can't just undo the deal weeks or months later. In effect, the dealership just became your new bank. And this quote just perfectly sums up the power shift, doesn't it? The contract you signed is with the dealership. Their inability to sell that contract to a bank is their business problem, not yours. As long as you keep up your end of the bargain by making payments, they have to keep up theirs. Too bad for them.
So let's boil it all down. What are the key takeaways? 1. That scary letter isn't always a crisis. It might just be a legal formality. 2. Your signed contract is your absolute best friend. Read it. 3. Always verify everything directly with the lender on your paperwork. 4. Never, ever sign a new contract under pressure. And 5. Know your local laws, because something like the 10-day rule is where you find your power.
So I guess it leaves you with this final thought. When you're making a huge purchase, it's so easy to just see that big stack of documents as a chore you have to get through. But when a problem pops up, you realize that contract isn't just paperwork. It's your single most powerful shield. Knowing what it says and knowing your rights is what turns you from a potential victim into an empowered consumer.